Have you ever avoided one small thing for so long that it quietly started controlling your entire life? Not because you were weak. Not because you didn't try. But because fear felt safer than facing the unknown. If that question made you pause for even a second, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see fear in a completely different way, and you might finally understand why one simple step can change everything. Most people think fear shows up as panic or chaos. But real fear is quieter than that. It hides inside excuses. It whispers, "Not today." It convinces you to take the longer road, even when it drains you a little more every single time. And the scary part is this: fear doesn't disappear when you avoid it. It waits. It grows. And one day, it asks for a much bigger price. If you watch this story till the end, you'll discover a powerful lesson that can help you face your own fear calmly, without forcing yourself or pretending to be brave. This story is shared with you by English Story Archive, a place where simple stories carry deep meanings. Stories that stay with you long after the video ends. And if you enjoy thoughtful stories like this, take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us reach more people who might need this message today. What you're about to hear isn't just a story about an animal or a place. It's a mirror. Somewhere in this story, you may recognize your own hesitation, your own long road, or the one thing you keep telling yourself you'll face someday. Stay till the end, because the final realization may be exactly what you need right now. And as you listen, I invite you to think, what is the one thing you've been avoiding, hoping it would stop bothering you on its own? If this opening already speaks to you, let me know by dropping a comment and sharing this video with someone who might need to hear it too. Sometimes, one shared story can start a powerful change. There was once a quiet mountain valley where mornings felt slow and gentle, and the air carried the soft sound of wind through tall trees. In that valley lived a young stag named Elias. He was known by everyone as kind and helpful. He never turned away an animal in need. If someone was lost, he guided them. If someone was tired, he waited with them. From the outside, Elias seemed calm, steady, and at peace. But what no one could see was the weight Elias carried inside. A quiet fear followed him everywhere. It wasn't loud. It didn't scream. It simply lived with him, shaping his choices in small ways. Every morning, Elias followed the same routine. He walked through open meadows, collected food, and drank from the clear stream. Yet there was one place he always avoided. An old wooden bridge stretched across a deep ravine near the edge of the valley. Long ago, Elias had slipped there once. Just for a moment. But that moment stayed with him. The memory of losing balance, the rush of panic, the feeling that the ground could disappear beneath him at any time. Since that day, Elias promised himself he would never cross that bridge again. Instead, he chose a longer path around the valley. He told himself it was safer, smarter, and at first, it felt like the right decision. But day after day, the longer road drained him. It took more time, more energy, more strength. Still, Elias accepted it, believing this was simply how life had to be. Fear had quietly rewritten his routine, and he didn't even realize it. He never spoke about this fear. He smiled. He helped others. But deep inside, the bridge remained unfinished business. A place he avoided. A place that held power over him. And without knowing it, that single choice, to keep walking the long way, was slowly preparing him for a moment he could no longer escape. One quiet afternoon, Elias wandered farther than usual while searching for food. The day felt calm, and without realizing it, he followed the scent of ripe berries closer to the ravine. When he finally stopped, he saw a thick patch of food growing nearby. Relief washed over him. He ate slowly, enjoying the moment, not thinking about time. But when he looked up, the sky had changed. The sun was already moving lower, and the light felt thinner than before. Elias gathered what he could and started home. That's when the familiar tension returned. He stood still, realizing the longer path would take much more time, and night would reach the valley before he did. Slowly, his eyes drifted toward the bridge. It hadn't changed. It was still narrow, still quiet, still waiting. His chest tightened. His legs felt weak. The memory rushed back as if it had happened yesterday. He could almost feel the slip again, the sudden fear, the loss of control. The wind moved through the trees, and the bridge creaked softly. Elias stepped closer, then stopped. His breathing became shallow. His thoughts grew loud. What if it happens again? What if I fall? Fear spoke clearly now. Without another moment of thought, Elias turned away and chose the longer road once more. It felt familiar, predictable, safe. But life rarely rewards the path chosen only out of fear. As Elias walked, dark clouds began to gather above the valley. The air grew cold. Rain started falling, light at first, then heavier. The ground beneath his hooves became slippery. Thunder rolled across the mountains, echoing through the trees. Panic replaced caution. Elias realized something too late. By avoiding one fear, he had walked straight into a bigger danger. Soaked and trembling, Elias searched for shelter, but the storm only grew stronger. Every sound felt threatening. Every shadow felt alive. In that moment, Elias understood a painful truth. Avoiding fear had not protected him. It had led him here. As the rain poured harder and the wind howled through the valley, Elias felt smaller than ever. His body shook, not just from the cold, but from the fear pressing in on him from all sides. He tried to stay calm, but his thoughts kept racing. Every step felt uncertain. Every sound felt like a warning. Just as the storm reached its peak, a slow, steady voice cut through the chaos. "Why do you keep running?" Elias froze. His heart pounded as he looked around, trying to see who had spoken. From behind a large tree emerged an old tortoise named Milo. His shell was worn, his steps were slow, and yet he moved with a calm that felt almost unreal in the middle of the storm. While everything around them felt rushed and dangerous, Milo seemed completely grounded, as if the rain and thunder had no power over him. Elias stared in disbelief. "How are you so calm?" he asked. "Aren't you afraid?" Milo smiled gently. He didn't rush his answer. He simply looked at Elias and said, "Fear grows when you keep feeding it by avoiding it." Those words landed heavily. Elias felt them sink in, deeper than the cold rain soaking his fur. For the first time, he spoke honestly. He told Milo about the bridge, about the slip, about the long road he took every day just to avoid one painful memory. Milo listened without interrupting. When Elias finished, the tortoise nodded slowly. "You think you're protecting yourself," he said, "but all you're doing is teaching fear that it's in control." Before Elias could respond, a loud growl echoed nearby. From the shadows appeared Bran, a large bear, soaked and clearly irritated by the storm. "This weather is dangerous," Bran growled. "The ravine is flooding. That bridge is weak. Even I wouldn't cross it." With that, the bear turned and disappeared into the trees. Elias felt his courage drain away. If someone that strong refused to try, what chance did he have? Doubt wrapped itself tightly around him. Just then, something unexpected happened. A small squirrel named Luma darted past them, light and quick, and ran straight across the bridge without stopping. Elias watched in shock. On the other side, Luma paused and called out, "It's scary only when you stand still." And in that moment, something inside Elias shifted. Elias stood there, frozen, watching the bridge sway gently in the wind. Luma's words echoed in his mind again and again. "It's scary only when you stand still." For the first time, Elias realized something important. Fear felt strongest when he was doing nothing, when he was thinking, when he was imagining everything that could go wrong. The storm behind him was growing worse, and the path he once trusted no longer felt safe. Slowly, he turned back toward the bridge. His heart was racing as he stepped closer. The wood looked old. The ravine below looked deep. Every part of him wanted to turn around. But this time, he didn't. Elias lifted one hoof and placed it carefully onto the bridge. It creaked softly. His breath caught in his chest. Fear screamed at him to run back. Instead, he stayed still for a moment and took a slow, deep breath. He focused only on where he was standing, not on what was below. Then he took another step. The bridge moved slightly, but it held. Rain struck his face, and the wind pushed against his body, but Elias kept moving. One step at a time. Halfway across, his legs began to shake violently. Doubt rushed in again. What if this was a mistake? What if he couldn't finish? Elias closed his eyes for a second and reminded himself why he started. Not to be fearless. Just to move forward. He opened his eyes and took another step. And then another. The storm roared, but something inside him grew quieter. Each step made the next one easier. When Elias finally reached the other side, he collapsed onto the ground, breathing hard, his body exhausted but alive. Moments later, the rain softened. The thunder faded. And the storm slowly began to pass. Elias stood up and looked back at the bridge. It hadn't changed. It was the same narrow bridge it had always been. But Elias was not the same. Something inside him had shifted. He hadn't become stronger because the bridge was easy. He had become stronger because he faced it. As Elias caught his breath, the valley slowly grew quiet again. The storm that had felt endless only minutes ago was already losing its power. The clouds began to part, and soft moonlight spilled across the ravine, reflecting gently on the water below. Elias stood there in silence, listening to his own heartbeat settle. For the first time in a long while, his body felt tired, but his mind felt clear. Milo soon appeared beside him, moving at the same slow, steady pace as before. He looked at Elias and smiled, not with surprise, but with understanding. "Notice something," Milo said softly. "The bridge did not become stronger tonight." Elias looked back once more, then lowered his head slightly. He finally understood. The bridge was the same. The fear was the same. What had changed was him. Moments later, Luma joined them, sitting calmly near the edge. Together, they watched the river flow beneath the bridge, no longer violent, no longer threatening. Elias realized that fear had always sounded louder in his mind than it ever was in reality. The danger he imagined had been far greater than the truth in front of him. By moving forward instead of waiting, he had taken back control. As the night passed, other animals began to gather, curious about what had happened during the storm. When they heard that Elias had crossed the bridge, they were amazed. The same stag who always took the long road had faced the one thing he avoided for so long. Elias didn't feel proud in a loud way. He felt calm, grounded, free. From that day on, Elias crossed the bridge often. Not because fear had vanished, but because it no longer ruled his choices. Each crossing reminded him of what he was capable of when he stopped waiting for fear to disappear and chose to move anyway. As you listen to Elias's story, it's hard not to see yourself somewhere in it. Because this was never just about a bridge. That bridge is anything you've been avoiding. A conversation you keep postponing. A decision you delay. A risk you know you need to take, but haven't. Just like Elias, you may tell yourself you're being careful. That you'll face it later. That the long road is safer for now. But deep down, you already know the truth. The long road is slowly exhausting you. Fear works the same way in our lives. It doesn't usually stop us with force. It guides us quietly. It convinces us to wait, to delay, to choose comfort over growth. And the longer we listen to it, the louder it becomes. Until one day, life pushes us into a storm we didn't plan for. And suddenly, the thing we were avoiding feels like the only way forward. The powerful lesson here is simple. You don't overcome fear by waiting for confidence. Elias didn't wake up fearless. He didn't feel ready. He felt scared, shaking, and unsure. What changed everything was movement. One step. Then another. Fear lost its grip the moment he stopped standing still. And the same rule applies to you. Courage doesn't come first. Action does. If this story made you think about your own bridge, I want you to pause for a moment. Ask yourself honestly, what is the one thing you know you need to face? You don't have to solve it all today. You don't have to be perfect. You only need to take the first step. That's how fear shrinks. That's how strength is built. If this message resonated with you, share this story with someone who might be standing at their own bridge right now. And tell me in the comments, what is the long road you're tired of walking? Your words might help someone else feel less alone. Before we end this story, take a quiet moment and remember this. Fear never leaves on its own. It doesn't fade because time passes. It fades when you decide to move. Elias didn't defeat fear by becoming stronger overnight. He didn't wait for the bridge to feel safe. He simply stopped letting fear decide for him. And that choice changed everything. The truth is, fear will always speak. It will warn you. It will doubt you. It will remind you of the past. But fear is not your enemy. Standing still is. The moment you take even the smallest step forward, fear begins to lose its voice. You don't need to cross your entire bridge today. You only need to step onto it. That is enough to start changing the story. Here at English Story Archive, we believe stories matter because they remind us of who we really are beneath the fear. If this story gave you clarity, comfort, or courage, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It helps us continue sharing stories that stay with you and grow with you. And now, I want to hear from you. What is one fear you've been avoiding that you're ready to face, even just a little? Write it in the comments. Your words might be the reason someone else finds the courage to take their first step. If you know someone who needs this message, share this video with them today. Sometimes, the right story at the right moment can change a life. Thank you for listening. And remember, what scares you today may become the proof of your strength tomorrow.